you think you're okay. You talked to the doctors, you took the medications, you relaxed every day, you learned how to meditate, you learned about the disease of alcoholism, you learned what to do with yourself when you don't know what to do, and then you get drunk. People say that rehabs don't work. What really happens is rehabs work fine. It's the people that don't work. We don't want to do the hard stuff. We don't really last very long once we get that vacation. Some people just want the vacation and that's it. It costs $30,000 from your insurance company. But if you did it yourself, you're out. Rehabs work, and there's so many great programs out now. Medications, I mean, they have some fantastic medications. Amazing world today that we have all these tools to fight alcohol. I didn't have that when I got sober 36 years ago. I got 36 years ago, there was only one thing. If you were at the bottom, you could go to AA or try and do it on your own and be miserable. I wouldn't advise that. That's a terrible way to go. Some people have tried everything and nothing seems to work. Well, there's a reason for that. You need a spiritual change. Jordan Peterson said, clinical psychologist Jordan Peterson, said that you cannot have peace and contentment and long-term sobriety without a spiritual life. I agree with him 100%. There's a lot of things that you can find that will help you, and you can't detox physically and think that's the end of the line. It's not. You've got some work in front of you, and if you manage to find the spiritual aspect of whatever program you work, you're going to have a much better life. You're going to feel peace, you're going to feel contentment, and it's hard work. It's harder than just giving up the drinking. To find that, you don't need a better program. You think you may need a better program, you really don't. You have to go to work. Abraham Lincoln once said, all of our pains are caused through attachment. That also includes addiction of all kinds. We're attached to it. But it's also a disease that we carry. It's not only just a disease, but if you collect, addiction is funny. If you collect toy soldiers, within a couple of months you're going to have a garage full of them, and it's going to take over your life. You'll be buying, selling. It's unbelievable. We fit into that addiction, out of control. This is what I want, and then go back to recession and depression. There's a lot to learn about alcoholism and addiction, but there's a way out. There is definitely a way out. When people go to rehab and they get out, they get the feeling that they feel great. They feel good, they look good, people compliment on them, they lost a couple pounds. They've lost the sorry look in their face, and they seem to be a little happier. And that's what they stick with. And that's not enough. That's just not enough. You can't survive on that alone. Go to AA meetings and don't listen to anybody. AA is where I learned. Now, it doesn't mean that I highly recommend just AA. at this day and age. We have so many tools that can work with us. But it gave me a foundation that is second to none. I had people put in my life that were, I think, sent straight from heaven for me. It felt like that. I know that's not the case, but what I learned is a spiritual way of life that I didn't learn in the Catholic Church. It was different. I went to Catholic schools, Catholic church, Catholic upbringing, my whole family, grandparents, everyone. I didn't feel any spirituality at all growing up. I was just a little kid. I didn't find any spirituality till one man showed me what it was all about. And he stuck with me when I went to AA. This is old school stuff. People would watch the crowd come, watch the crowd go, and they'd find people like me that were suffering, and we didn't look good, we weren't happy, and those are the people that we talked to going through Alcoholics Anonymous. And there's some steps to go through, and you don't have to do them perfectly, but you've got to do them. They help you. And then the spiritual aspect came to me after about 3 or 4 months. It finally hit me, and it was taught to me, and people in Alcoholics Anonymous watched me start to grow. And when you start to grow, a funny thing happens. All of a sudden you learn the peace and quiet, asking for help, ask God for help, ask whoever it is you believe in as far as a spiritual power. Could be the universe if you want, it doesn't matter. But there's something there that will help us, and it comes in peace and quiet. It took me a long time to get this, but I did get it. It's very difficult to describe. You can read all the spiritual literature you want, and you'll get a clue, a hint, a feeling. But most of these people that write this, they can't describe it well enough so that we can just pick it up and run with it as normal, everyday, average people. We're not able to do that. We have to go through pain. In some cases, severe pain, before we get to that point. And when you get to that point, and you start learning how to be quiet with yourself in a special spot like this, even if it's only for 10 minutes, if you can practice that during a day, you're going to be better off, and then you're going to see the payoff down the road. It doesn't happen quick, it doesn't happen overnight, it doesn't even happen sometimes even a year. But it will happen. You will feel it, you will get it. It's an awakening. It's a feeling. And it's temporary. It doesn't last long. But it opens up your mind and keeps you out of yourself. We are our own worst enemies. Alcoholics, drug addicts, anyone that's addicted to anything is, we're our worst enemy. We cannot enjoy life. We don't enjoy life if we're addicted. But you can find a way. And there's not just one way. Everyone's different. But it's imperative you do that in order to gain long-term sobriety. There was a study in New York University a dozen years ago by a doctor named Mark Galanter. He was head of the psychology department at New York University. He's probably long gone. This was a while ago. And he said, with all the studies of alcoholism, he said that long-term sobriety is very, very difficult because we get back to our old ways. People in Alcoholics Anonymous from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, have managed to stay sober for life. And they did that because of the spiritual movement they discovered and made it work for them. And these are the people that were just myself included, completely dead against that. Just, I'm not buying into that. I went through Catholic schools. They said, I've been beaten by nuns. I'm not hearing any of that. And I didn't, but I kept going, and I kept going, and I kept going, and kept talking to people, and they said, just give it a shot, practice it, do it, even if you don't believe in it, do it. Just ask God for help, or the universe, or whoever it is that you believe in. If you're uncomfortable with God and everything you learned, that's fine. But you've got to find that spiritual life. I can't say that enough. When I was a little kid, my father was a big drinker, and I watched him go down the tubes. I watched him hit bottom. I watched him get thrown out of the house. I was in my early teens. And then he managed through friends, get sober. And he stayed sober for his whole life. And I saw a man change. And I went back to that when I was being told, and I went, wow, that's what happened to my father. I used to see him sometimes kneeling down next to his bed in the bedroom, asking God for help to stay away from the drink. But it goes further than that. The drink is only a physical thing. We can ask for help with that, and that's where it all begins. Alcoholics Anonymous is old. It's an old way. People don't want to go to meetings because you have to drive there 3, 4, 5 times a week, meet people, listen to meetings, stay outside, talk in the parking lot to your sponsor or somebody that you've developed a relationship and trust. People just don't want to do that. We can do it on our phones today. We can do it on our